Welcome, everybody. It's time once again for Keeping It Real, as in Keeping It Real Estate. The only show that gives you the real answers, the real scoop about what's really happening out there with your real estate and everyone else's. From the one woman who really knows. It's Rosanne Nitty. Hey, Rosanne.
Hi, Paul. Good afternoon. You always make me smile.
Well, you do. I'm impressed at the people you bring by here. And today, you're going to tell me that you actually made friends with somebody you sold a real estate for? Come on, that never happens.
Absolutely. Most of my clients are my friends, to be honest with you. I work primarily off a lot of referrals, but today I have the lovely Robin McDonald. Hi, Robin. Welcome.
Hello, Rosanne and Paul. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
And Robin has her family listening in Pennsylvania. We've got a lot of people listening today. So hi, Phil, Doris. How's everybody doing out there?
We're in Pennsylvania. We got to get some shout outs here.
Well, at the very top of Pennsylvania, just south of Elmira, New York, and then in upstate New York. In,
wow, okay.
Bath, on
All
the
right.
Finger Lakes.
Might be snowing back there even right now. Here, it's amazing.
Yeah. So Robin and I met, well, I was doing some online advertising. Robin and I met online. It's kind of like a Match.com story. So I had the phone ring and I answered it. Hello. And there was this cute little voice on the other end that was interested in buying a home. And so we had discussions about getting qualified and certain things that I would pre-qual anyone in regards to buying a house. And we met and started looking at houses.
We did, and it was quite a venture. Well, first, and let me just describe to you, in finding Rosanne, it was a match made in heaven. I would say, because she just was so very qualified, and showed homes in Orange County, all the places that I was looking in areas to buy, such as Laguna Hills, Mission Viejo. I wanted to stay around that area.
Dana Point, Lake Forest. She's a pharmacist and she works in a lot of different locations, so she had different options. She wasn't set on one particular neighborhood. And at the time, it was somewhat of a buyer's market. We actually would do some marathon showings because of both of our schedules, and we eventually saw over 30 homes.
We did,
but we would go and look at 10 or 15 homes a day, and it was fun. We had a good time doing it and determined what her wants and needs are.
My real estate agent showed me 3 properties. She said, "Which one do you want?"
Sounds like something on a TV commercial, right? So, and we had fun doing it because for me, it's listening to the client and what they want. For instance, Robin likes to entertain. So she had specific needs when we were looking for a home, and you could share those with us today.
Well, I knew exactly what I wanted in a home, and we saw many lovely properties, some fantastic homes, and in the areas that would easily get me to and from work, which was a concern. Location is everything when you're living here, but the main thing that I think a couple different criteria was it had to have a big kitchen.
The kitchen for entertaining.
I wanted at least 3 bedrooms. We ended up with 4. That's a little bit of a funny story,
that was a joke.
too.
Yes, we'll get to that.
But then, and then also I wanted a pool. So we just kind of limited it to those properties.
Have those backyard parties.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
So the home buying experience was fun for us because we became instant friends, and we were able to connect and make our days of looking at homes fun. That's the one thing I love about my job, is going out and looking at homes and then saying, well, we love that kitchen, but we can't stand that yard, or maybe the location's bad, or looking at condos versus single-family homes if there's a homeowners association. Robin has some experience in home buying. It was not her first home, and she was leveraging some down payment capital for an FHA loan, which would enable her to keep her assets in other places. So the FHA loan had some restrictions on price, as well as what were called out during the inspection process. So that was interesting too.
Yeah, very interesting. So, just a little bit, and you're way more qualified to speak about FHA loans than I, but I just remember that there were quite a bit of things that the FHA loan officers and such required of the property before the final sale. So that was one particular thing stands out with the fence around the property, which was
Yes.
quite in disrepair. But
So we put in, what did we put in? 3 or 4 offers on different homes. And the home that you ended up buying, when we did put an offer in, it had been completely remodeled, but not without a few little issues that we called out for the inspection that the seller agreed to, as well as when I'm writing an offer on an FHA loan, I always want to cover my buyers with whatever the appraiser might call out to be repaired in the event that it needs something. Mm-hmm. So in this case, there was a laundry list.
There was.
And the seller had never lived in the property. They were investors. So it ended up that my lender, Matt Bader, bless his heart, and Robin and I went over to the house, and we ended up installing GFIs. Matt helped with the fence to straighten it out, mm-hmm. and there were some water heater issues, and we ended up doing all these things ourselves to get this house to a point where the appraiser would clear it so that they could get the FHA funding.
That's how fantastic Rosanne and her team are. That she never left my side. Rosanne was just there with every stitch of the paperwork in the process, and particularly that and the repairs, which could have been, quite a complication, but you made it completely seamless.
Oh, thanks. Well, you had some experience too, so that worked out well. We had a really fun time through that. I think that one of the most important things when working with buyers, whether they're first-time buyers or not, is to be able to listen to their needs, and make that connection. I think the most important thing is to listen to what the client wants. It's not what I want. But I also protect my clients in a way where if I look at a certain house or I see certain things, I'm like, well, you might love that house, but I might not let you buy it, right? Remember, we had a couple of those.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. I remember there was one issue where the pool in the backyard had a sloping gradient right above it. So I immediately thought, well, it doesn't rain often here, but when it does, that's going to be an issue with
we might have a mudslide going on. We might have a mudslide
Yes.
going on. Can you tell me what, real quick, we're going to take a break here in a minute, but can you tell me what you thought the most challenging thing was in the home buying process?
Really, because it was back in, we were looking in 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
It was
Different market.
quite a different market, and there were so many properties available. However, you had to act quickly. And, thanks to you, we did. We were able to see as many properties as we could.
And I think after the break, we can talk a little bit about how we put together a strong offer so that we could make your offer stick. Because I think we did lose out on a couple offers just because we weren't, and we'll talk about how do we value when you're putting in an offer, what do you look at when you're pricing. Yeah. So we'll take a quick break and we'll come back in a minute. Thanks for hanging on.
Imagine what it would feel like to lose everything. Your job, your home, your family, your dignity. This has happened to thousands of the men, women, veterans, and young adults we serve at Working Wardrobes. What do we do to help? We provide career development services, life skills workshops, job skills training. We provide the perfect interview outfit, and we get clients placed in jobs. Call Working Wardrobes, 714-210-2460. Donate, volunteer, invest, hire.
All right, we're back with Rosanne and her friend, the former client here. I got to just interrupt. Come on, this sounds unbelievable to me. Nobody has fun buying their house. It's stressful, it's crazy, it's confusing, it's all these things. Tell us why this was different. You got to tell me why this, because you said you bought houses before. Was it always fun?
Well, no, I
No.
would have to
No.
It wasn't. It was not. It's the fabulous Rosanne. She's the
You're
one that
too-
made it.
You're too good to me. That's
oh,
funny.
Goodness.
But you know,
Well,
seriously, for example, I wanted to look at lots of properties. They start wearing on you. You know, oh, come on, I've already showed you 4 or 5 or 6 here. Come on, you know, I don't have forever to do this. I got a million other people to do too. Problems come up. They don't want to help you. They don't want to hear about it. They want to just push you through it.
I think you had the wrong agent,
I
Paul.
felt pushed
I think
all the
you
time.
had the wrong
You know,
agent.
get it over with. Push.
Well, we would plan our days, like I said, with Robin's schedule and mine. We would, at that point in this market today, it would be a miracle to be able to show you 10 properties in one day. Really, there's just not much inventory on the market. But we would see 10 or 15 a day. We would plan out our routes. We would take a lunch break. Sometimes it would be wine and margaritas or something like that. But we would kind of power through them. And in this day and age when there's a lot of photographs on the MLS, and for Robin it was location and being able to see the yard, like utilizing Google Maps from above so that she could see, does this back up to, something that isn't appealing to her? And so there were a lot of different things where we were able to eliminate things. So it was sort of pinpointing those ones that could work. And you never know, I'm also a photographer, so we do have a little bit of trickery when it comes to real estate photography. It could look fabulous in the photographs, and then you get there, or vice versa. Sometimes the photographs don't even do the house justice.
that's true. That was a lot of my selection process and our selection process together. But I think just to revisit your question about the challenges, there were a couple of big ones that come to mind were the one house, I think it was in Laguna Hills that we were looking. We were standing in the kitchen. You were on the phone with the other listing agent, let's say, and the offer was completely just wiped out from underneath our feet because there was another offer that was accepted, and my offer wasn't strong enough at the point, so it just wasn't meant to be.
And so it takes, you really have to know what your buyer wants and what they're willing to pay, because it is emotional in residential real estate. Investors, it's a little bit different, but for residential real estate, if you're living in the home, it becomes emotional. It is an attachment. It's somewhere that you're going to be calling home and living in. So you need to really know. So how badly do you really want this house? Are you really willing to bid a little bit above what someone else has bid? How strong is your offer? How strong is your down payment? And in Robin's case too, in that market, there were a lot of flips and short sales, and some of the sellers weren't willing to accept an FHA loan because the FHA is a little more strict in their guidelines. So they want to make sure the water heater is strapped down, the heater works, and some of these things. And a lot of the properties at that time needed a little more work and wouldn't qualify.
Well, I remember when we had the offer in on the property in Dana Point. It was a 3-story condo, and the sellers liked the offer, but they didn't like the FHA portion of it, so they actually declined me. And then, if you'll remember, they came back after a couple days and wanted to revisit with me, but by that time I had moved on.
I think, and that was once we found the home. So we did find a home in Lake Forest, and it was in a lovely neighborhood, and like I said, it had everything she wanted: beautiful kitchen, the pool, beautiful backyard. But I think in the end, what really excited me the most and made me the happiest was her neighbors. She was fairly new to the area and didn't really know a lot of people. And these people in her neighborhood, Michelle, Sheila, if you're listening, we love you. But these people became friends, and we've had a lot of wine parties and barbecues, and they've become a family. And that's what makes me smile the most, is to know that she was super happy in that house and was making new friends.
Somebody tweets in the question that's burning through my head here. Do we even need the Rosannes in the world? It's all online. I could just go look all this up here. Come on, I'm going to save the money and I'll just go do it myself. Why do I still need a Rosanne out there?
Well, because if somebody's we haven't gotten to the point where we can buy houses online yet, and there's still a lot of moving parts when it comes to a house. It's a big asset. There's a lot of working parts there. What does the electrical look like? What's the plumbing look like? You need someone that can actually help you with those inspections, and we cover you. I mean, we're licensed for a reason. And we're there to guide you through the process. I don't think people really realize, oh, I'm just going to go buy the house. Well, okay, go buy the house online. And now, if there's a flood tomorrow, did you check if it's in a flood zone?
Yeah, right.
You know, did you go through the portion of getting your homeowner's insurance and all these different aspects?
Well, look at the complexities you're talking about. I mean, FHA, we've heard that before on this station where people walk in, particularly in a hot market. Nobody wants to hear about FHA because it takes longer, has more requirements. And yet you're cutting out a huge, huge group of people that are using FHA for a variety of reasons, not just first-time home buyers anymore
Right.
here.
Absolutely.
And I think that just knowing what you knew about the FHA process and how to actually roll up your sleeves, and I never heard of an agent did that. You guys would be one of the few jump in and actually help make it happen. Most of them just go, well, go do it, you know.
Well,
and
our loan officer, Matt, he got out there and he helped
Oh, my
fix
God.
that fence. I mean, he was amazing.
You guys are from another time and place
we
here.
all
I don't know
made it
anybody that does
happen,
this.
and we went out of our way to make it happen. And, you know, part of it is Robin was a client who was savvy. It wasn't her first house, but she also knew enough to trust the professionals. And I think a lot of people don't think that we know what we're talking about.
Right.
And maybe there's a few that give the rest of us a bad name, but we're always educating ourselves. We're always learning. We're always keeping up on the latest rules, regulations, and laws to protect our clients because we can get sued very easily.
And how do you get over I'm sorry to jump in again, but
Yeah.
because I don't really felt I got this before, the experience of knowing not just what the client wants, but knowing the market. I ran round and round and round in circles, and they just chased anywhere I wanted to go. They did, and I wish somebody had corralled me in and said, "Wait a minute, what is this more important, or is this more important? Are the schools more important, or is the lifestyle more? You know what? We're just going all over the place here, willy nilly, and that's what you get when you go online. Everything looks appealing. Everything's a shiny object. You chase everything here, when in fact there might be some things." If somebody had told me, gee, I shouldn't have looked at that neighborhood, or I should have looked at this one instead, just because they know it.
I think that agents who are out there, like I am, I don't work one specific area because most of my business is from friends and referrals. So I study the market that I'm working in, and I'm looking at what's going on. And when we were looking in, say, Mission Viejo, Dana Point, Lake Forest, I was really studying what's going on with those houses and what's up. And you get to see all the inventory out there. And we really, even though we were seeing a lot of different locations, I was studying the market and looking at what's going on in those specific neighborhoods. And I think that's what's important in an agent is that they actually are researching the market, and they're not just sending a house to you and hoping you want to see it and run out there and they don't know that the house next door sold yesterday or last week or something like that.
Yeah, well, for example, in our neighborhood, we found out much later, to our dismay, that there was a history of water pressure's too high and pipes are bursting. I've had all sorts of neighbors who've had their pipes burst. Huge, massive, expensive problem. Somebody could have told me early on, hey, this is kind of endemic to your area.
Well, that's what your good home inspector is for.
Well, that was
And
another joke.
Our home inspector was Michael Smerdell. He was on the show last week
Yeah.
with the business credit. And Mike's an excellent home inspector. And, you know, tell us a little bit about your experience with Mike.
Oh, I'm telling you, he was top class. I mean, you know, he was part of your team. You referred him to me. He came out. He actually did such a thorough inspection that I thought not only did he find a couple of issues with the roof that we had the roof certification person
Right.
take care of.
Which came in handy.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And he also identified some electrical issues in the attic.
Oh, in the attic,
Yeah,
yes.
that could have potentially been just devastating. So, it's valuable. It's completely valuable to have your agent, your broker, look out for you in every aspect of the purchase.
All right. Well, if anybody wants to join the happy family, how do they find you here?
So you can reach me at thenittigroup.com. That's NITTI. Actually, I'm sorry. It's just Nitty Group, NITTI group.com. Or you can reach me at 949-315-9104. I actually do answer my phone, believe it or not, unless I'm busy with another client. And I appreciate Robin coming out today and sharing her story. And
Thank you for
Paul,
having
we're
me.
always sorry about your past.
Oh, my goodness. I'm the voice of too many people, though. Come on. It's not supposed to be that fun. Well, I'm pleased it was. What would you say, Robin, going away here?
Well, I just, I appreciate the opportunity to support Rosanne, because she was just absolutely a dream of a real estate broker, and turns out to be a best friend.
Oh, my goodness. She gave you too many margaritas here. I think that's what it is. Here.
Well, thanks, Paul. Thanks, Robin. Thanks for coming out today. And
Thank you
thanks,
for-
everyone, for listening. Have a wonderful week.
You've been listening to another episode of Keeping It Real Estate with the one woman who really seems to know it all, Rosanne Nitty, right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OCTalkRadio.net.